Okay, today we're going to learn about shading. How do we make things look three-dimensional? So one thing you notice in this vase or vase, however you want to pronounce it, is you could see one side is lighter and one side definitely has the dark, the shadow on it. Okay, so we call that values. So, right here is what's called a value scale. A value scale is just shows you how we have white on one side, we have black on the other side, and the in between are called values or tones. So you see the lightest, the medium light, medium dark to darkest. Darkest would be black. So in a drawing like this, you'd have, again, just like that. You have your lightest, your medium light, your medium dark, and then darkest. So we're going to use just a regular pencil in order to create this. I already drew the picture to move things along. So here's my vase. And now we are ready to shade. So the best way to begin is the lightest. So I'm just going to go this one direction here, and I'm just going somewhat to the center, but not totally. And I'm doing a technique called cross-hatching. Cross-hatching means we're going to crisscross these lines. So right now I just put a very light tone. So I'm kind of in my lightest tone in a way. I mean, it could be lighter, but I don't want it too light. You wouldn't see it. And now, so I held it this way, and I would start like that. Now I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to now press a little harder, and I'm overlapping the lines. So what's happening, we're crisscrossing. That's why it's called cross-hatching. We're cross-hatching. So I'm pressing, and if you notice the shape of it, I'm kind of shading in a round manner. So I just want to start light. I could always add more later. I always say shading is kind of like eating, like in seconds. Like, don't fill up your plate all the way. You can always go back for more. Just like in shading, we can always go back for more. So, and then again, I can crisscross again. I can cross-hatch. Press a little harder here. And I'm going to so what's happening is I'm filling up the graphite, this paper. Now the paper, this type, I've drawn paper, so it's got it's called tooth. It's got these almost little grooves in there that you could see it. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep spinning around. And if you notice, I'm holding my pencil. I'm not holding like I'm writing. I'm holding it like this. I'm putting my thumb behind it and my four fingers in front. That way I can get a little lighter touch. Now over here, I'm pressing a little harder because this is the shadow side. So I'm going to press a little harder. And then as I bring out here, I'm going a little lighter. And then one thing you don't want to do is right here. See, this is white, and then the lightest, we want the lightest to blend. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a moment. I'm going to actually use my finger. I mean, you could use a paper towel or a tissue or a paper if you want. Or we have a thing called Stomp or a blending stick that can do it, but I'm just going to show you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my pencil like I'm writing. I'm going to press a little harder here because now I want to start applying the black because that will kind of change everything once you start getting the darker tone in there. Or the darker. So I'm just press a little harder. So you can see if you press really hard, you're starting to get your darkest tone. And I want to try to stretch that out into this area. And again, I'm pressing harder and then lightening as I get towards the center. Over here, I can start using my finger if I want. And I can kind of start blending it a little out so I can get the lightest tone. But I definitely need more darker tones here. So again, as showed you that value scale, we're trying to show that there's different values. There's not just one, it's not just black, it's not just one shade. And then slowly it's starting to get a little more 3D. You can always, and if you make a mistake, you can always erase it. As I get over here, I'm barely touching. Okay, and then I'm gonna press a little harder here. You can always spin it around to add more of that cross-hatching. Starting to get 3D right before your eyes. Down here, I definitely want to get a little darker down here since the light's getting a little blocked here. Okay, we can also add a shadow, like a little shadow, because I drew a little line to show the table line. So not too much, just a little, just to indicate that it is on a table. And again, I'm pressing a little harder, and I got all those values I could blend, okay? And I just want to keep doing that towards the center. And then before you know it, starts coming off the page. It starts getting a little more 3D. And you're gonna be very careful in this area because you want it to stay light. Yes, I look pretty good here. So I'm gonna see. Then once I feel a little more confident, I can start pressing a little harder and bringing out more of those values. Because I feel like I should probably get a little darker in this area. So it's a matter of just flipping the paper over and over and blending those values together. And then now over here, if you notice, I have an opening on this vase, so I want to shade on the opposite side because the light is now being blocked. So if the light's coming here, this little lip of the vase here is being blocked, so I want to shade it a little. So this area is going to also have a little shadow. And again, darker on one side. And I'm going to create some values by pressing harder and then go a little lighter. And always leave a little white. Don't lose all the white because then you lose that effect because it's like an illusion here. And also our eyes are tying it all together. Our eyes see the darks together. All right, so I'll blend those out a little. All right, then before you know it, it starts kind of looking kind of almost like my original one. So and you can see the direction I'm doing. And I go over here, I probably could get a little more there. I could blend it a little more with my fingers. So it always wants to be, again, the lightest, medium light, the dark to darkest. You don't want like a dark tone in the middle of it. You want a lighter one there. So only here you can get the darkest one. Okay, and then before you know it, almost looks like the original one. Yeah, so I can keep working on that, and then eventually, look something like this when you're done. Okay, well, enjoy.